Greetings, and welcome to another episode of the TED in Your Head podcast. I'm your host, Ted Moreno, certified hypnotherapist and coach. And in this podcast, we are doing the work of freeing ourselves from those things that would stop us from health, happiness, and success. I've identified three things: lack, limitation, and lethargy. Lethargy, no inspiration. Procrastination, no energy. Lack, I am not enough. I don't have enough. Limitation, up here. Beliefs of what we can't do, what we're not capable of. Once we move those things out of the way, we can pursue our own personal transformation. Transformation is not a matter of doing something different. It's a matter of becoming something different. And that starts at the level of the subconscious mind with your thoughts. That's the area I work in. If you would like to have a conversation about using the tool of hypnosis to help you transform your life, I'll tell you how to get in touch with me at the end of the podcast. You can request a complimentary consultation. We'll talk about your situation and what we can do to help you transform your life. So for now, we're going to get into today's topic. We will be talking about hypnosis today. In fact, we'll be discussing the dangerous mass hypnosis of news and social media. And if you have been paying any modicum of attention, you can see this happening right now. So, little backstory. I've recently got back into in-person business networking. So I was doing a lot of that before the pandemic. I was a member of a Chamber of Commerce group and another professional networking group. I was meeting people. I was getting out there talking about what I do. The pandemic happened and all of that went away. And when everything went back to in-person type situation, I was pretty comfortable just kind of hanging out, going to my office, doing my in-person sessions and doing my sessions over Zoom. Recently, however, I've become a little bit, what's the word? Kind of feeling a little bit locked in. I felt the need to get out there and start talking with people in person about what I do. So I joined a fabulous networking group, and this is giving me has given me a new ability to get out there and meet new people. And when I get out and meet new people, inevitably I have to talk about what I do, and in particular what hypnosis is. So most people don't know a hypnotherapist, and so that's the first question they have. What is hypnosis? What do you do as a hypnotherapist? So I'll explain very briefly what hypnosis is. Essentially, hypnosis is a naturally occurring state that we're in pretty much every single day of our lives, where we are in a light state of hypnosis for about half an hour after we wake up and various points during the day. For example, if you've ever had the experience of driving your car and missing your off ramp or turn because you're kind of spacing out, that's an example of being in hypnosis. Another example would be you go to the movie theater to watch a movie. The movie's a really good movie. You get so wrapped up in the movie, so suggestible to the movie, that you forget that you're actually in a movie theater with other people. So that would be another example of hypnosis. So there's nothing strange or weird about hypnosis. I spend a lot of time explaining to my clients that hypnosis is not sleep. You're awake, you're aware, you're hearing everything that's being said, and people come in, they say, I want to work on this. This is what I want to change in my life. We talk about what they can do better, what they need to stop doing, and we craft suggestions that we believe their subconscious mind needs to hear. So hypnosis is a state of suggestibility, where the mind becomes very open to suggestion while the person is in hypnosis. Therefore, we can use the power of suggestion to help people change their thinking. And as I just mentioned, this is where transformation starts, by changing our thinking. So that's a wonderful thing. I'm very much enjoying getting out there and mixing up with people that I don't know and meeting new people. But here's the thing that I've noticed recently getting out and being around other business professionals. I've noticed that in light of recent events in September 2025, namely the assassination of a right-wing political activist, I've had a number of people tell me I need to get off of social media. I can't take it anymore. I'm anxious, I'm fearful, I'm angry, I'm worried, I'm depressed. That's when I realized there is mass hypnosis going on now. And that's what I want to talk about today, the dangerous mass hypnosis of news and social media. This is a serious problem that we need to be aware of. The distinction between social media and news information is now very blurred. The BBC reports, and that's the British Broadcasting Corporation, reports that more than half, 54% of people get news from networks like Facebook, X, and YouTube, overtaking television, which is 50%, and news sites and apps, which is 48%. I saw a Reddit post recently asking, is social media mass hypnotizing the public? The poster goes on to say, I don't know much about hypnosis, but social media seems like a hypnotist's dream. Is it plausible that people in control of social media platforms could essentially dictate the beliefs and actions of huge swaths of the public? And the answer to that question, I'm telling you, is abso-frickin-lutely. The concept of social media hypnosis refers to the trance-like state induced by social media platforms. Heightened attention, concentration, and suggestibility are characteristics of hypnosis, and this can lead to excessive and unconscious use of social media. Social media platforms use reward systems to trigger dopamine release in the same way that a slot machine in Las Vegas might do. In social media, you like something, or your post is liked, or there's words that trigger you, or images that are calculated to get an emotional response. So this dopamine release is how addictions are created. There's an addictive loop that keeps users engaged and returning for more and more. This unconscious scrolling, combined with dopamine releasing reward systems and the widespread use of social media for news and entertainment, activate a type of mass hypnosis designed by the platforms themselves to be addictive. That is my contention. Just like traditional print and television advertising, this state can be used to bypass conscious thought for marketing, influence, and for manipulation. This often leads to negative outcomes like addiction, anxiety, and depression by engaging the subconscious mind and its negative patterns of worry, fear, and anger, and even rage and depression. And we're definitely seeing that now. There is an excellent and short article at goldmindhypnotherapy.com. That's gold and mind hypnotherapy.com, written by Caitlin Redwood, a hypnotherapist. She also happens to be a graduate of the Hypnosis Motivation Institute, where I teach and received my training. She writes, and I quote, when the conscious mind gets overwhelmed with too much data at once, the mind can't keep up the process of organization and cannot differentiate what we're seeing or feeling from what we otherwise already believe. This means the mind is in a state of hypersuggestibility, and we are more likely to accept what we are experiencing in this overloaded state as true. This happens in a hypnotherapy session, but in a controlled way with a specific intention. She goes on, when scrolling through an endless social media feed, there is no way for the conscious mind to process everything you see in a reasonable, logical way. Essentially, there is simply too much data coming in too fast, and the subconscious mind becomes overloaded, which means you enter a hypnotic state and therefore are extremely suggestible. If the content you are consuming includes triggering photos, images, or text, you are more likely to absorb it at a subconscious level, which can affect the way you feel and even influence your beliefs and behaviors. This is especially true when the content induces a strong emotion. End quote. So, this little blurb written by this hypnotherapist very much reminds me of my interview with Rohini Walker, where we discussed her article, Committing to Digestion in the Information Age, where we discussed the overconsumption of information that has become addictive and normalized. In 2020, there was an article published in the scientific journal Frontiers in Psychiatry. It was titled, Hypnotized by Your Phone? Smartphone Addiction Correlates with Hypnotizability. The authors tested whether there was a relationship between smartphone addiction and hypnotizability, which is one's tendency to follow suggestions under hypnosis. Not surprisingly, they found a positive correlation between hypnotizability and smartphone addiction. The article states that smartphone use has risen dramatically in the past decade. In the United States, 96% of young adults own a smartphone, and half of teenagers report feeling addicted to their phones. The American Psychological Association defines hypnosis as a state of consciousness involving focused attention and reduced peripheral awareness, characterized by an enhanced capacity for response to suggestion. So the authors of this study propose that hypnosis and heavy smartphone use may share features such as absorption, time distortion, and automaticity. What does this mean? Well, absorption refers to the tendency to become immersed in one's thoughts or experiences, such as forgetting about the movie theater while you're watching a film, and not being aware of other things going on around you. Time distortion is when half an hour after you checked your phone to check the time, you notice you're still scrolling, or maybe even longer. Automaticity is when cell phone users report feeling a lack of control as they go down the rabbit hole of news and social media. Are you feeling worried? Concerned? You should be. On the website 52insights.com, there is a 2020 interview with Tristan Harris. He is the executive director and co-founder of the Center for Humane Technology, which is a nonprofit dedicated to ensuring that the most consequential technologies actually serve humanity. Harris has appeared in the Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma. According to Wikipedia, the film features Harris and other former tech employees explaining how the design of social media platforms nurtures addiction to maximize profit and manipulates people's views, emotions, and behavior. In this interview on 52insights.com, Harris states, "We're 10 years into this mass hypnosis." What else do you need to know? Can I give you some advice? Limit your social media consumption, especially now. Avoid getting into arguments with people online. It accomplishes nothing and stokes animosity and division. Notice how you feel when you're exposing yourself to angry, provocative, and sensational social media posts and news stories. Get your news and information from outlets that consistently rank high in credibility and are trusted by a wider range of the political spectrum, such as the Associated Press, Reuters, and BBC News. In closing, there is much that we should be paying attention to in our country right now. We want and need to be an informed citizenry. And we want to know what we can do to make a difference, and that is for each of us to decide. What we don't want is to fall prey to the impact of mass hypnosis, manipulating us to feel angry, anxious, and even further divided than we already are. I want to remind you that you can read this podcast as a blog post in which there are many links talking about the things that I've discussed here. They'll take you to the sources I've quoted, and you can find that at tedmoreno.com/blog. You can also watch this podcast at YouTube by going to at Ted A. Moreno, searching in the search function in YouTube. And if you feel that you need help staying centered and grounded in the face of everything that's going on, you can request a complimentary consultation at tedmoreno.com/contact. I'll get back to you within 48 hours. Thank you so much for listening. And please take care of your body and take care of your mind. Bye.